Yo, my friends. Welcome back to another, I guess, live stream on TA with MK. My name is McKay. Now, this is only my second live stream, so it's probably going to be pretty sluggish, just like the first one. We're learning. Obviously, there's only going to be a few people anyways to watch it, and I'm sure some of those people will just say, screw it, and click off, and that's cool. But, you know, we're going to get better as time goes. That's the whole point, and you know, that's the point of life, right? If you try something until you get better at it. So I hope everybody's doing good today. I have chat up. There's going to be a point here in a few minutes where I'll dive into these topics I'm going to go over today. I will check chat frequently throughout, of course, just to see if anybody has any questions. But, you know, as I go through each topic, for sure, if I'm not paying attention for a couple of minutes, at the end of each topic, I will check and kind of have a little question moment there if anybody has questions about the topic that I was going on. They're all related. They're all basically the same topic. It's essentially just broken down into 3 parts. Circulating supply for Bitcoin, just explaining kind of where you calculate that, what it could potentially be by the end of this bull run, and how I'm figuring that out. And then we're going to use the past to kind of predict the future. For those of you that have watched any of my price projection videos, that's entirely what my formula is based on. We'll go over that. We're just talking about what it was that made me come up with the numbers I came up with that I'm applying to the different position ranks for the coins to try to get price targets that I realize have a lot of variables to them, but at least it's giving us a starting point for different price projections. And then, of course, the last one would be calculating the total, and we'll explain kind of what total is when we get to that part. But we're calculating kind of what the amount of money in crypto could be based on different Bitcoin prices. So those are the 3 topics we're going to go over today. I did a stream yesterday where we kind of talked about Bitcoin, a little bit about Bitcoin, the S&P 500 and a few other things. So anybody else here besides YHM? I don't even know if you're still here. I got to figure out how to see who's here and who's left. So like I said, I'm new to this. I have chat up, but I don't have a clue how many people are here. I just don't. but I'll get it all figured out over the next day or two. I had planned to do that today before the stream, and I got some things figured out, but we're having an air conditioning unit put in today, so I was kind of occupied helping a little bit with that so we can make sure it gets done today, because it's getting hot here where I'm from, and I'm not even from one of the hottest places. I'm sure some of you are from places that are much, much hotter. But anyway, for those of you that do stop in, you know, if you do me a favor, remember to like. Casper, good to see you, brother. Casper was actually just helping me. I was doing a test stream before this just to make sure audio was right. I had an awkward moment on my first stream yesterday where I had no sound for the first couple minutes, didn't realize it. I think a ghost got into my computer and changed something. And so, you know, we were trying to avoid that today, and Casper gave me a huge solid there. So anyway, just remember to like and subscribe. If you're new to the channel and you actually somewhat enjoy the content, you can actually stick around and make that decision later if you want. If you don't, if you're one of those, I need to be prove to me that you're worth subscribing to. Ghost, LOL. Yeah, that's what I think. Yeah, I really do think that. Because I was telling Rigo yesterday that I know that I recorded a video the other day. I've changed nothing in my settings, especially related to my microphone. It just wasn't working. It was just turned all the way off. Like a ghost came in and said, "Dude, we don't like you," and he turned me down. So I don't blame him, but just a little weird. So we won't dawdle around any longer than we already have. We'll go ahead and start diving into some of these topics. So what I want to talk about to start with, like I said, is going to actually be calculating or circulating supply for Bitcoin. So the first thing I want to do is hop over here to the Google page. I just Googled. There's a lot of websites that kind of give the same answer, so for the most part it must be pretty consistent, pretty accurate. So what I wanted to find out to start with is how many Bitcoins are mined per day. Now granted, this answer is coming up prior to the halving, meaning that this answer says 900 new Bitcoins per day. This has actually been cut in half since April, I believe 19th, if I'm not mistaken. So it's actually 450 now. So what we're doing, and this will all come back to make sense once we get over to my Google Sheets document. But what we're doing when we first try to come up with price projections, we have to first figure out Bitcoin. Bitcoin's going to be what determines the amount of money that's going to be in all of crypto. We'll go over how we figure that out. But to start with, we're over here on CoinGecko, and we have Bitcoin pulled up. And what we're looking at is its current circulating supply, which is about 19.7 million. And now we do know that it's capped at a max supply. It's one thing that's nice about Bitcoin is that it will eventually be maxed out, and there won't be no more coins in circulation because of the halvings. That's gonna be 20, 30. I can't remember how many years out, but we've kind of seen the majority of what's coming into circulation already happen, and now it's going to be a much more gradual pace, going forward. So right now, if we take 19.7, I was doing a little bit of math before we pulled this live video up, kind of seeing what Bitcoin since the halving has been adding per month to its circulating supply, and it's actually been right around like 100,000, I guess is what you'd say. It's basically been going from like 19.69 to 19.70, 19.71. Almost every month, that's basically what it's adding to the supply. And so if we were to project, which a lot of people would project crypto to top sometime in 2025, towards the end, let's just say it happens, so a year from now would be June, right? Let's add 5 more months to that: July, August, September, October, November. I think it could actually top closer to like October personally, but let's just say it tops in 17 months. We're going to take 17, we're going to times that by 30.5, because most months have 31. Half the months have 31, half have 30. I do realize there's the February, but we just won't worry about that. So we got 518.5, and we're going to times that now by the what gets mined per day now, which would be half of 900, and that's going to give us 233,000, right? So this is just an estimate. It's not going to be perfect, but we're estimating what we think could possibly be in circulation come the top, because it will make a difference for the market cap, which I'll explain, for Bitcoin, which we need to have to begin. The whole formula starts with Bitcoin, like I said, and a market cap for it. So we're going to take 233,000 now, and we're going to add that to this 19,711,000 number, and that's going to give us a projected Bitcoin circulating supply come the end of next year of a little over 19.9 billion. Let's just use 19.9. I believe for my Google Sheets document, I was actually using 19.8, because the other thing you have to understand is that not all coins will automatically be in circulation just because they potentially could be. You know, there's going to be wallets that never move their Bitcoin, essentially things of that nature. There's actually a lot of factors besides that, but we won't go into that in this video. But just for the sake of this particular live stream, let's take 19.9, and that's going to be our starting point for the actual formula, right? Now I want to quickly explain. Let's pull back up. Let's see, we are on topic 1. Let me go ahead and actually change that for you real fast. So we're on topic 1, right? There you go. So we're talking circulating supply and Bitcoin. Now, from there, we're going to go ahead and just move on past that. That was a quick topic, but we want to talk about how we're then applying that with the past prices. So I have this website that I find very useful. It's called coincodex.com. And actually, before we jump into this, once again, I want to say hi to those of you that showed up. I see Rigo's here now. Good to see you, brother. 2 days in a row. We got Patel here, another guy that's been in the group for quite a while. Good to see him here. And then, of course, I don't know if YHM is still here, but I'm glad to see you, brothers. I hope you're having a good, what is it, Tuesday today? I think it's Tuesday. I lose track of my days, but usually Friday is the only day I can remember because that's the end of the week, right? You're happy to be off work. So I hope everybody's having a good Tuesday. Yes, California, that's one of the main reasons, you know, I wouldn't want to live there. It's a little too hot. I'm just to the, I guess, east of you. I'm over here in Idaho, and Idaho doesn't get nearly as hot. I mean, it is still 85 degrees today and actually kind of humid for Idaho, but thankfully not, you know, whatever you're probably dealing with over there. Did anybody have any questions just on the simple thing that I went over so far as my calculations on Bitcoin's circulating supply? I will move on, but if I see that someone had a question, every day is Saturday. Yeah, Casper gets to hang out. He travels, right? You work basically, you and your wife both work out of your RV. I believe that's probably not the right word for it. It's probably something fancier than that. But whatever it is you travel in, he works out of that and gets to travel around, see the country, and works basically from home. It's just a mobile home, right? He moves around. So he gets to experience the country and still work, and his wife works, and it's a pretty good setup. So anyhow, so we're over here on CoinCodex. This is a website that I use that actually you can type in a date. You can see here it says select date, select time. I don't know if the time really is that important, but you can select a date. You can put in, for example, in this case, I am using November 10th of 2021 because that is actually where Bitcoin topped. That was where Bitcoin saw its high price last bull run of just under like 69K or just over, depending on the, you know, the exchange that you run, but basically we'll just call it 69K. And I did toy around a little bit with the time before I started the stream because, of course, yes, based on the hour, this market cap fluctuated a little bit between 3.06 to, you know, as low as below 2.98 and so forth. But what we were looking for was just an idea of, you know, what the highest the market cap got for all of crypto. And I know that there's actually a chart. In fact, let me pull it up real quick. I don't know why I didn't have this one up already, but it is actually just called the total. So if we pull up total, this is a chart you can look up on TradingView that will show all of the money in crypto. So for example, if we look over here to, well, let me get my topics out of the way real fast. If we look over here to the right, we can see that right now there's $2.387 trillion, according to this chart at least, in crypto. We can actually look back to the top of the last bull run. Let me change this to the weekly just so that we don't have so much data on our screen here. So we can take this back to the top of last bull run and see this little wick here. So it wicked as high as, according to this, just over 3 trillion. And that's kind of the number that I'd heard. So I don't know if CoinCodex is just off a little bit, or if this chart's off a little bit, or if the answer lies somewhere in between. I don't know that, but we can see, according to this chart, you guys won't be able to see on your tiny phones or even your desktops probably, but when you hover over a candlestick on TradingView, it will show you what the high and the low for that candlestick was. And it says the high for that candlestick was 3.009 trillion. Quick question I'm going to read real quick out of chat. It says, do people become bearish if Bitcoin goes under 60K? I would think so. I've been hoping it does. I think that us that are in crypto that understand the value of what that could mean as far as altcoin prices, we would look at that as an opportunity. It would definitely mean there'd be, I would call it maybe a setback. In fact, for sure it would be a bit of a setback in the bull run as far as retail goes, things of that nature, because then the news is going to be negative, blah, 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 right? It's just going to kind of be a ball rolls downhill type of a situation. And that's why I keep thinking it's going to happen, because we're a long ways from the end of 2025. You know, we're over, you know, a year from that point. So, you know, yes, we broke our all-time high earlier than the halving. That was great. But really that just means that we went up higher than we should, so we probably should come down a little ways. But we'll see. You know, we'll do some TA on that in some future videos, but I think the answer to that's pretty straightforward. Yes, people will become bearish if we drop below 60. I think that's a number that, as long as it's holding, people just assume this is a, you know, what would you call it, a lull in the market. I'm sure there are some retail people waiting potentially to buy a dip, but the thing is it's easy to say you're gonna buy the dip, but when it happens, like below 60, like you asked, or if it goes to 55, let's say it goes all the way to 50, people then change their plan to fear, you know. So that's why you always want to write down whatever plan you have in crypto, and if it happens to come to fruition, remember how you felt when you wrote the plan down and stick to your gut there, and don't let your emotions take over. So going back to this website, we're on coincodex.com, and that was a good question. Oh, one more question here. Casper says, I got wrecked on my Bitcoin. This is probably more just a statement, but an Ethereum lings this morning. Longs. He meant longs. He was leverage trading. Be careful with that, by the way. I need to get into the habit of putting in stop losses. You know what? That's how I got wrecked, actually. So I would have made, we won't tell the whole story on this stream. We'll save that for another time. But the amount of money I made last bull run would have been a lot more. And I think a lot of you can relate to that simply by not having stop losses in place when it mattered the most. Didn't mean I wasn't using stop losses or didn't understand how they worked, but isn't it funny how you sometimes just don't use them here and there based on, I'm guessing, just you think you know better or something. And that's all I can say is that when crypto first pulled back the first time, at least I learned my lesson, was able to recoup a lot of those losses and did well when it officially topped. Not that I sold at the top or anything like that, but just that I did well on that rally. But the first one that happened, let's pull up Bitcoin chart. Let's put it to the weekly real quick while we're on that, you know, statement of Casper's. This is where basically everything that I got into crypto right after COVID. I'm sure quite a few people did that maybe had some time off of their jobs and, you know, started looking for somewhere to put some money that they had. And I got into crypto right before it broke its all-time high. I was actually getting into it around the end of the year of 2020. It was still, I think, sitting at like 18,000. I got into some different things like Ethereum at some super low prices and so forth. But basically all the gains I had from here to here, which was over a 10x in my portfolio, I lost almost every bit of it. I would say 85% of it here, and most of it just there on this one candle, because I had a lot of money in 10x leverage trades because everything had been going up for so long and I thought that was the way to do it, and I lost it all. So then I learned my lesson and did better this go around. Didn't make a whole lot after we broke 55k. I think at that point I just had PTSD from the first time around and I just sold. But anyhow, that's also me going off on a little bit of a tangent. Got in April. Okay, so you were pretty close. I bet a lot of people that are part of crypto this bull run got in at similar times, maybe a little later. I'm sure there's a lot of people that got in during this rally here, like in 2021, and got wrecked or bought coins, you know, that they're at a loss now, and so you're in crypto because you're hoping to either recoup those losses or, you know, maybe make money this go around just because you saw the potential. Okay, I'll take a break from you guys. Go ahead and chat amongst yourselves for a minute. I'll get back on topic here. So Coin Codex, what I've done to start with my formula is I pulled up this November 10th, 2021, and all I did was I went through here and I actually took outside of Bitcoin every single position rank. And initially when I did this, I didn't count Ethereum either, but I took all of these position ranks and I took the amount of their market cap, and I went to this website over here, which is handy dandy. It's calculator.net. And all I did was I would say, okay, how much a percent is that money of the overall market cap. So again, that would be this number here. I used 3 trillion. I think I went off the total chart. I didn't actually go off this number. I just did even 3 trillion. And I said, okay, what is, for example, Solana at the top of last bull run had a market cap of 73.66 billion. And so I just went in there and said, okay, what is 73.66 billion? What percent of 3 trillion is that? And then I put together this chart, which I do plan on making more appealing at some point. It's basically, my understanding is Google Sheets documents is basically an online version of Excel, right? I never learned Excel. We never had to use it when I was in school. At least we weren't required to. And after I graduated, I briefly went to college for web design. I got like a certificate in web design, but even then we never really used Excel. And I'm pretty sure it's an easy program to learn, but I've just never learned it. So this is Excel to my understanding, just Google Sheets version of it. And I just used it as a glorified way to present data to you guys instead of like Notepad, right? Or Word, you know. So you can laugh about that because that's what this is. And I'm sure anybody that uses Excel for a living, or at least knows how to use it, probably would look at this and go, okay, this looks like a child made it. And they would be accurate because it's pretty much what it is. So what I did then is I had to project dominance, right? So what dominance is, for those of you, I don't know, I talked about it yesterday, I think on my chat a little bit. I think it was one of my topics actually yesterday, but we'll just touch back on it briefly here. So dominance, and this is a chart on TradingView, BTC.D, it's Bitcoin dominance. You can look at it, and right now, for example, it's at 55%. This means that this is the amount of the overall money in crypto that Bitcoin occupies. So at this given moment, we looked at the other chart, which was the total, right? We saw there was 2.382 trillion. We come back over to this chart, we can say, okay, well, Bitcoin makes up 55% of that, which makes sense because if you go over here and look at CoinGecko, the market cap for Bitcoin is 1.325 trillion. Well, that would make up right around, let's give or take a few, half as a percent or whatever, of 55% of that 3 trillion number, or not 3 trillion, but the 2.6 trillion or whatever we saw over here, right? The 2.382 trillion. So anyhow, we were projecting based on the tops of the last bull run, the last two, which I don't really like to put a lot of weight on this 2017 one. There just wasn't a lot of altcoins yet, but it's still worth noting that at the time of the top, you had like around a 48% dominance. If I zoomed in, you'd be able to see it better, but just for the sake of kind of keeping on topic here, just kind of go with what I'm telling you here, but it's around 48%. And then here on the 2017 top, it actually was sitting right around 43%. We were in this range where we kind of came down into it. This is where the big altcoin season happened. You could see dominance dropped like a rock, meaning that money was flowing out of Bitcoin and into altcoins. That's basically what this chart's showing you. If it's going up, more money or more focus is in Bitcoin, vice versa if it's going down. Well, it ranged in here for a while. Bitcoin topped here. Altcoins continued to perform well. They had their moments where they didn't, but then they recovered and did well. A lot of altcoins put in their top after Bitcoin. A lot put it in before. And a big chunk put it in right at the same time. And we'll talk about that in a future video as well. That's one of the big variables to do with my whole formula, is we're projecting prices as if everything's going to top when Bitcoin tops. And that's just the reality, is that's not the case. There's going to be altcoins that top before it, some that top after it, and some that top, right when it tops. But it can at least give us an idea of when the crypto total, or the most money is in crypto, what prices could be for coins, meaning that, some of these coins could actually outperform my projections. Some I think could underperform barely, but I think for the most part, they're pretty safe. So what I initially did is I went on the safer side. I took the upper half of this. I figured with the ETFs, this bull run, right? Bitcoin ETF being kind of what drove the price to where it, broke 70K. I took the safe route and said, okay, well, Bitcoin dominance, if it's at 47.5%, that's where I started with. So then I took this website over here and I said, okay, 47.5%. Let's see, we gotta go. What is 47.5% of? You know what we did forget though? I apologize, guys. We gotta calculate a Bitcoin price first. So somebody throw me out in chat a Bitcoin projection. Tell me your projected price for Bitcoin. I'll just go with the first person that gives me an answer. Give me your honest opinion of where you think Bitcoin's going this this particular bull run. Dun 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 dun. A little over 100. Okay, I like that. 155. Okay, we'll take the average of those two. How about that? A little over 100, 155. The average of that would be like 127 or something, right? But we'll take 125. So 125K. That sounds like a good price. So we're going to calculate the market cap by taking 125K. We're going to times it by the circulating supply that I talked about earlier of 19.9 billion, right? And that's going to give us a projected market cap for Bitcoin of 2.985 trillion. So we're going to copy that number now, and we're going to ask this website 2.98 trillion. So hold on, what is we want to say 2.98 trillion is, hold on, I gotta figure out which one it is. I think it's this one. Okay, 47.5. That's what I had come up with. We're gonna actually mess around with some other numbers, but let's just say that for now. We're gonna paste this and say that is 47.5% of what number? And then the answer to that, which is 6.284 trillion in this case, up top, if you can see that on your screens, that's giving us a projected total market cap, which would mean all the money that could potentially be in crypto if Bitcoin hits 125K and its dominance is 47.5%, right? So then that's the type of number we would then take, you know, and that's just how I came up with these numbers up here. Is so now that you understand how I'm doing that, you can make more sense of these numbers on my Google Sheets document. At 91K, for example, at 47.5% dominance, it came up with this is a total projected market cap for all of crypto of 3.816 trillion. Let me see if I can actually zoom in a little bit on some of these so you can see them better as I talk about them. Okay, right, and then 100K, we got 4.193, 115, 130, and so forth. And so at that point, and the part of this that took the most time, like bar none, like it took the most time, was applying this whole idea of going, okay, what is this number, what percent of this is this and this. And it took me like 3 days to sit and go through the first top 100, and then I decided to kind of round out all the way to 500, which if you go back over here, you can see that I got a little lazier once I got down that far. Instead of, I just did averages because they were so close. Like the difference between 101 and 110 is just fractional, right? At least it was last bull run. The difference between 111 and 120, fractional. Now, granted, the difference between 120 and 180 was a little bit of a stretch, but this was kind of just a good way to say, okay, if it falls in this general area, then you can then have projected. What's this say? I really like the spreadsheet. Thinking outside the box, love it. Hey, yeah, thanks, Joe. I didn't know if you. Hey, by the way, this is one of my good friends, Joe. I don't obviously know anything if he goes by anything else other than Joe. Joe, do you go by anything else? It's just Joe. Obviously, Trade Intuition. That's his channel. I would definitely recommend subscribing to him. Joe is one of those guys that. My channel's TA with MK because TA stands for technical analysis, and that's, the general part of where my channel started. It's what I talk about a lot in my videos. But at the end of the day, if you wanted to go like rankings, I'm a novice, I guess I believe is one of those terms for someone that's not great in the grand scheme of things. And Joe is an excellent, he's a pro, right? He knows what he's doing, and he's also very straightforward with you about, his thought process with things. He doesn't. He's transparent is the right word. I guess transparent. He doesn't, if he's wrong about something, he'll tell you, but he tells you his thought process. That way he's enabling you a little better to make your own decisions, but he shares all his knowledge with you. He puts out a lot more videos. I think he's pretty well crypto full-time, which is awesome. I am not crypto full-time at the moment. So, he just has more time on his hands, and he's probably a bit smarter than me, been around longer in the space. Joe is awesome from the good old days. Okay, yeah, because Patel was in our group, so we won't talk about that group here, but a few of us did come from a previous paid group with, I guess we would call him our mentor at the time, maybe, but yeah, that's a whole different story for a different day. But hopefully we've all come out on the other side of that. A few of us are making our own channels now, and, picking up the pieces and moving on with our lives, right? So So anyway, back to the to kind of finalize what we're talking about here. So then, based on those percentages, we came up with projected market caps based on positions. And so that's what my entire video series about these projected market caps are based around. All I'm doing is saying, okay, let's take, for example, let's type in something like Rune. That was a coin from last bull run, right? We're saying, okay, it's in position 65. You know, then I might go back and see where it ended last bull run just to get an idea of, you know, where it could possibly go if it were to reach that again, kind of a thing. But either way, I start the videos by saying, okay, position 65 on my chart, this orange box is the percent of dominance. So position 65, if we zoom in again here so you can see better. So 65 is 0.096%. So I can come back over here and say, okay, what is 0.096% of, and then all we're doing after that is going, well, where do we think Bitcoin's going? Is Bitcoin going to 100K? 100K is what Patel thought. So 100K is a 4.193 trillion market cap. So I type in 4193 000 000 000 000, a bunch of zeros, calculate it, and this is giving us a projected market cap based on that position rank and, you know, the Bitcoin price. So then we can say, okay, 333, this is a 4.025 billion market cap, right? So then at that point, you have to do, you know, in my videos, I always have to go find the coin. We're not going to go over that in today's video. That is actually the hardest part of each coin. I have to go in and try to get an idea of what the circulating supply could be. It'd be easy if I could just take what the circulating supply is now. In fact, I did want to talk about, somebody asked me to make a video on HBAR, so I plan on making a video on HBAR, but I need to kind of dig into it more. The one thing I did find out on HBAR is that its circulating supply seems to all, its coins are all unlocked, but there's a website over here that I like to use, cryptorank.io, says that 37% of their coins are untracked. Now, I don't know what that means. Every coin might be a little different on what that means, but I see that to be a common theme. I have this theory that these coins just love to be very, I don't know what the right word is, but they like to confuse us, because then I feel like they can unlock coins at any time, and they can just say, hey, we showed you. It's just untracked, but it could unlock. Joe probably knows that better than I do as to why this would be the case with some coins. I like looking up the coins that tell me when everything's going to be unlocked. If it's mining that goes on, I like to know, okay, well, when, you know, and how much per day can we calculate? Can we get a number? Because that's what we need. But if we were to calculate Hedera, which is at 37 right now, HBAR that is, we can go off its current circulating supply. We'll just call it 35.7 billion. It's like that's what that is, 35.7 billion. We could say, based on my chart over here, we could say if it stayed at 37, so 37 on this is 0.209, right? We can go, okay, if it's at 37, which Bitcoin price do we want to go with? Let's just go with the 100K one. Position 37 on my chart at 100K is 8.7 billion. So then all we're doing is taking 8.7 billion, and we're dividing that by, this is actually how you figure out the price, or how the price is calculated with 80 of the coins. You just take the current market cap, you divide it by the circulating supply. So we're going to divide that by whatever I just said a minute ago. Let me go back over there because I already forgot. 37.5. So we'll go back over here. 37.5. And that'll actually give you a price. So in this case, it'd be 23 cents, right? So 23 cents from where it's at. That's not right. I must have typed a 0 in wrong. I apologize, guys. Something went wrong there, but let's figure out what went wrong there. I got one too many zeros in there somewhere. It's probably $23 is what it probably is. $4.90, $23, but maybe we'll just do it real quick again and make sure what I did wrong there. So position 37. It's probably because I was supposed to divide take the circulating supply first. That's probably what I did. Did I type that in backwards? No, I did not. I think we got it right. Market cap divided by circulating supply gives us our price. So we're going to 37 again. Cost from it, 8.7 billion. Let's type 8.7 billion. Okay, 8.7 billion. We're dividing that by HBAR's circulating supply of 35.7 billion. Well, I guess that would come out to be that price. So we're getting something wrong here with it. Oh, I was on the wrong. When I went over to 23 cents, I wasn't on HBAR. Why didn't somebody tell me? So that was right. So it's actually only 8 cents right now. Well, I don't know what I clicked on, but so maybe I can edit that out of this live stream when I post it later. But anyways, so yeah, 8 cents to 23 cents. That'd be almost a 3x. So we could come over here and say, okay, that new number we came up with. Let's go ahead and just do it real quick though. 37.5. equals 23.2 cents. So we can come over here to the HBAR chart. Go ahead and Alt-H. Let me zoom this in a little bit for you guys. And we're going to go ahead and right-click that. Kind of getting a little inside of how I make these videos is I have to do all of this math first, and then I can go ahead and hit record and start actually talking. But 0.232. We're going to go style. We'll call this the 100K one, so we'll do yellow. And white text, 16, 20, we'll do 20. And we'll go position, 37, position number, 37, based on 100 KBTC, and that price is 23 cents, right? Which we'll just call it a 3x because that's pretty close. So, you guys have any questions on that? Let me read, kind of catch up. What you guys got going on. Again, I hope everybody's having a good day. I really do. We'll hop over here actually just for a second so you can watch me sweat up a storm. Also, again, guys, for those of you that haven't yet, or if you're stopping in and you're liking somewhat what you're seeing, I realize it's probably not the greatest, but remember to like and subscribe. We'll get better on these streams. This is only my second one. At least this time you can hear me. The first time I screwed that up, so we're making progress. I can't fix my face, so if you think I'm ugly, you know, I apologize for that. I mean, maybe down the line I can save up and get some, you know, plastic surgery done or something and make myself look like Donald Trump or something for you. But for now, you're stuck with this face. All right, let's catch up here. I know VRA has messed with me so badly so far. I hope my conviction pays off. If not, I'm screwed. Well, if you don't mind telling me, you don't have to tell me how much money, but how much of your portfolio from a percentage standpoint, Rigo, if you're still there anyway, how much is in VRA? Are we talking like half of your portfolio is VRA? Are we talking only like 15%? I'm guessing if it's going to screw you, it must be a pretty good percentage. The bear market low for VRA is 2.002 in 222, but being this close to it really sucks. 50%. Wow. That is quite a bit. And we talked about that in yesterday's video about, well, we didn't go into in depth. I kind of went off on a tangent like I always do, but we were talking about kind of what the number of altcoins that I think you should hold are. And it doesn't mean that Rigo's suggesting he's not in that category as far as the right number, but I guess one thing I didn't elaborate on when it came to that too is obviously diversifying just a little bit better your percentages too, because you could have, you know, 65 crypto coins, but maybe 50% of your money is only in one. Well, that's not diversified at all. So I was mentioning that I thought you should hold somewhere between, you know, around 10 coins at the most. I felt like I do think some people could, you know, depends on how much money you have in crypto and your risk tolerance, of course. And if you, I just know people within the space that have 30 plus, you know, 40 plus coins, and it's just hard to keep track of all that. They're all going to top at different times. You're going to think they're all going to top at the same time. So one of your coins maybe finally does something, you sell it, but then you missed the boat on some of the other ones or whatever because it's just too much to keep track of. Or you think, okay, Bitcoin's to this number, I better sell them all, and then, you know, half of them do better after you sold. There's just so many scenarios when it comes to when to sell, and that's a skill set all in itself. And if you got 40 coins you're keeping track of, how in the world are you ever going to do that? Casper, I have 77 bucks in VRA, my smallest holding by a landslide. Well, that's 77 bucks. If Rigo's, you know, projections for VRA can come true, that 77 bucks can maybe turn into 87 bucks. I'm just kidding. Rigo's gonna be like, you son of a bee. He says, I need VRA to get to 5 to 10 cents. Well, you know, let's go. You know, I make these videos so often, and then I forget what my projections even are after I make them, because you know, I'll move on to the next video. So let's see. Let's revisit VRA. I just barely did a refollow up on that one the other day, though. I want to say 10 cents was maybe what I projected on it, but let's go. I use the MEXC whenever I'm making. MEXC's not usually what I use, so I use it when I make these ones for the videos. That way I don't mess with them later ever. So it looks like we have, let's go to the weekly for VRA. I gotta hop back over, of course, to this so you can actually see what I'm looking at. And what do we got? We got my projection, safe projection of 6 cents. Is this the one from the other day? Doesn't look like it. I don't think I made a 6 cent safe projection, so. Ha! See, I told you guys yesterday's video that some of my stuff had reset, some of my charts, and I don't, this must be one of them, because I definitely had a different projection. Makes me wonder if maybe I used like KuCoin for that or something. Nope. Not KuCoin. Well, we won't tinker around with that forever, but Rigo says 5 to 10 cents, I think. What did you say? Yeah, 5. Even if it gets back to 3 to 4 cents, I'm up. See, I actually, I'm surprised. I mean, maybe just because you bought a lot of it when it was at the top. Or not at the top per se, but just above, obviously, where it's at now by quite a bit. But when you started putting it on my radar, thankfully, a lot of the VRA that I bought wasn't that much above where we're at now. It was like up here around 6. You know, this line I have basically as previous, I guess, support that we lost, but it was it's where a lot of my VRA is. It's not my average price is just above that, but most of it was bought there to bring my average price down actually later from some of the purchases that I did make, you know. But still, I think I've got a little bit less, and I say 6 cents, I mean half of 1 cent, 0.006, not 6 cents, obviously, 0.006, which is just over half of 1 cent. Let's see what Patel says. Rigo, this might be the final dump. Need the Fed to shed some light on the rates, and the market will pump. So that's another thing. That's one of the topics I'm going to talk about actually probably in tomorrow's video. I think I'll be able to do one more stream tomorrow and maybe even one on Friday. Thursday I'll have some stuff going on. Probably won't be able to stream that day, but I will try to stream tomorrow. And I want to talk about, you know, my ideas behind when we might start to see the market recover and when we might see the actual breakout of 74, whatever we're at, you know, whatever the high was. And I think that it's going to really be based around what Patel just said as far as the Fed and interest rates. And there's a lot of projections going around on when they believe they'll lower them. My guess is it'll probably be after even those. I mean, that's one thing about the Fed is they drag their feet on that. They wait till things are as bad as they can get before they finally step in and help. So, you know, some people are projecting this next one, which I want to say is in July. That's the next FOMC meeting. I would be surprised, personally, if they lowered rates there. They'll probably just stay right where they're at. They're not going to raise them, I don't think, anytime soon. But as far as the lowering, which everybody's waiting on, I would expect that to be, in my opinion, maybe towards the end of this year or whatever the beginning of the next year is. Let's go ahead and let's pull that up real quick before we end stream. I've got a couple more minutes. Let's go look up at the FOMC meeting schedule. There's a website that I usually use for this, federalreserve.gov. Let me pull back up my camera so you guys can see what I'm looking at here. So this is federalreserve.gov. And I've just went, all I did was Google FOMC meetings. I need to bookmark this page. I always just go Google it. So anyway, the one that just happened was, let's see, June 11th and 12th. Okay, so wait a second. Am I looking at the wrong thing here? I thought there was, I guess maybe that is the one that's just about to happen. Does anybody confirm that in chat? Is there literally one going on right now as I'm making this video? Is tomorrow going to be an update on something? I didn't realize that. I thought July was the next one. I really did, so. Okay, Patel says tomorrow. Well, there you go. I guess I would have figured that out tonight when I started preparing my notes for tomorrow. I didn't realize that. I swore the last time I looked at this chart, it said July. Oh, goodness. This is the problem with trying to keep up with these things while you're also working a full-time job. And actually, the full-time job is not even the excuse. The real excuse is the baby, the 15-month-year-old little hellion that I have now that is making my life amazing, of course. But he's just busy. He's a busy boy. And so between that and, you know, trying to keep up with work and then crypto, you know, this is just these little things slip through the cracks, unfortunately. But we're doing better each day on figuring out a schedule to keep up with these things. But I would definitely don't expect anything good to come out of this one. In fact, I bet we bounce, though. I bet we bounce. We'll talk about that in tomorrow's video as well. I don't know that this is the final dump, like Patel said, unless you just mean overall, like over the next month or two, the final dump, and you might be right on that. But if you mean just like in the next 24 to 48 hours, often there's whatever move happens before. This is just, I'm not saying this is every time, but in my experience, before these FOMC meetings, price action likes to do the opposite of whatever it probably will do after. You know, it either pumps into it and then dumps after, or in this case, we're kind of dumping into it. I bet we get a recovery. Obviously, based on the news, it could be short-lived, or it could be the beginning of the actual rally up again, and maybe this is the final dump. But if you had to ask me, my guess, if I had to put my money on it, like if this was Vegas and I could actually gamble on, I'm sure you can gamble on everything these days, you could probably put money on when the next rate deduction will be at which FOMC meeting. I would actually say probably September. This is the one I've been kind of eyeing. And if it doesn't happen then or November, I would be surprised if it even happens this year. You know, it may not happen until after we get a new president, which, you know, we won't talk about all that on the stream, but there's definitely a bullish route that can go, in my opinion, or a bearish route. I think crypto will do what it's going to do regardless. I think the bull run's not going to end based on a president, but it could definitely make a difference to me in the overall price. So yeah, that's another thing we can add to our list of things to talk about tomorrow. Before I sign out for the day, I need some feedback real quick from you guys. Did today's stream, for those of you that watched yesterday's, go any better, worse? Any questions, suggestions, anything you'd like to throw in there other than Joe is a sexy fellow? I'm sure some people want to say that. I agree with Casper. There is a long support going back to October. I think it bounces off that support. And I don't disagree. Obviously, you're looking at my face right now. I pulled up the Bitcoin chart for a second. But ironically enough, to you guys that were part of the stream yesterday, do you remember me saying that, you know, this wasn't me like making some bold prediction. I just said that we most likely will pull back from here, and that I could see us probably confirming that double top, and then, you know, revisiting at the very least another revisit back down to 60K. Maybe a little higher. The question is that going to be the time that support breaks? You know, time will tell. We kind of got to see what that FOMC meeting does tomorrow. This makes more sense to me now that we're pulling back as much as we are today, though. I just did not realize that meeting was tomorrow. So better today. Can I send suggestions on Telegram? Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes, Joe, of course. I need suggestions. I need to get better. I know that. I do appreciate you stopping in. It's been a joy actually talking to everybody. Looks like we got a little more, you know, what do you want to call it, participation today, so to speak. And, you know, send me, you know, a lot of you that are in here today are actually in my Telegram group. And actually, there is a link in the description for that, of all these videos. I'll add a way to throw that up on screen midstream. I don't have that today. But if you aren't part of my Telegram group, which you'd like to be, because most of these guys in here are, and you want to maybe chat with them, then add that link, you know, or add the group. Join the group anyways via the link, and you know, you can come talk to people like Rigo and people like Casper. They're all good, solid fellows. Patel, and anyway, so I'll look forward to Joe giving me some feedback on my stream. I know it'll be good. Joe's good at what he does. He's been doing it for a little bit longer than I have as far as the streaming goes, and so, you know, we'll try to implement whatever he suggests, and we'll just get better. So other than that, guys, again, on the way out, I know I already mentioned it a few times, but do me a huge favor, remember to like and subscribe, and we will catch you in the next one. And as always, invest in yourself. And we're headed up.